I was just on a roll in Russian, and I posted my video in Russian for the Russian side of the world, and now I want to do it in English. I am today a little bit grumpy, so I watched some YouTube and I have a look at it. Yesterday, whether it was his channel or not, I probably should find out, but I didn't. Here's Zelensky before his peace summit in Switzerland. He posts a video, or somebody on his behalf posts a video where he says the following in Russian. He says, well, here's a video for those of you who only speak Russian. Here's a video for those of you that only speak Russian. He speaks Russian, but he doesn't want to. He wants to only speak Ukrainian, although half of freaking Ukraine speaks Russian, or only speaks Russian. They won't teach it in schools, they won't do anything, but he wants to make sure they understand his threat before the peace summit. Here's his threat. If you want to live, run, Russian, run. If you want to live, run. If you want to live, hide. If you on and on he goes in this mode, like a true Nazi. You know, let me kill everyone that disagrees with me. There's a good answer, moron. It's not. And then right after that, okay, yesterday, Telegram channels, Russian video, Putin got up, and I assume, so I call it smart politician, dumb politician. You know, here's a game for you. Here's a new world leader game. We call it smart politician, dumb politician, and the smart one is Putin. Putin puts out, and no, I'm not a fan of Putin. No, I'm not a puppet of Putin. I'm a person with a thinking brain. And the rest of you need to get one if you haven't already. Can't tell you how many people, mostly women, it's really sad, that I meet and they go, oh, those poor Ukrainians. Oh, it's so evil over there. Yes, it's evil. It's evil because they got a stupid leader. It's evil because they will not discuss peace, which was settled already 2 years ago. It's evil because they forced this after LNR, Lugansk, Donetsk, Zaporizhia, Kherson, and I think Odessa, but maybe I'm crazy, I don't know, but the other four had referendums and chose Russia. They chose their culture. They chose. Now, America's all about democracy, but oh geez, only when you agree with the American side. And we want that port in Odessa, just like England does. We want access to the Black Sea. For NATO, we want access to the Black Sea through that. You have it through Bulgaria, arguably, but they want that Odessa. England's put a shit ton of money into Odessa, and America's right in there too. And I think, you know, I think it's historic land. Russia, Ukraine never existed. I could go out on a roll like this for good. You Americans who don't know what's going on, you should probably find out. Okay? Because we're passing off money to these morons, and they're all stealing it and putting it in their pockets. Ukraine cannot be in NATO. Why? 2 reasons. 1, Putin said so. Nope, no Ukraine in NATO. And 2, more importantly, NATO said no for years and years and years. You will not be in NATO. Why? You have a very corrupt government, the most corrupt government in Europe, in Eastern Europe, everywhere. It is absolutely the most corrupt government, and historically has been since they first formed Ukraine on its own, very first time independent Ukraine after the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's the only time Ukraine has ever been a separate country, okay? Somebody can argue with me, you historians, please bring it up. Find something that isn't subjugated to Russia in Ukraine. Find a Ukrainian separate state. Ukraine, cry, means edge, frontier, far on the side. That's where they sent people, like we sent them, into the West. In America, we sent people into the West. They were living on the frontier. They were living na krayach, on the edge, on na Ukraine, on the edge. And it still said na Ukraine, on the edge. Va Ukraine, everywhere else is va grammatically. And that one, it's still okay and proper to say na Ukraine. And that's what they say 90% of the time. even Ukrainians, even Russians, na Ukraina, not v Ukraina. And well, you can do it either way, it works. And I had an interesting discussion about that with somebody from Russia. Now, or from Ukraine, I mean. And that is the point. Ukraine is Russia. They spoke and developed their own languages over the years. There's Ukrainian, just like there's Polish. There's Ukrainian, just like there's Bulgarian. There's Romanian, there's Bulgarian. It's a very mixed place over there. But the only time Ukraine has ever been independent, ever, is after the collapse of the Soviet Union. That's it. That's all. A separate country has never been. It was always Veliki Rus. Kievsky Rus, Kievian, Russian Kiev, not Ukrainian. And I'm not against Ukrainians. I'm not against them. But your history is so involved with there. Why in the world do you want to be American? And if you want to be American, like most of you that already have come here do, come here. Come to America. You want to be American? Come to America. Remember way back when one of the rulers of England said, "Make the world England." That's their colonial chant. Make the world England. And we see what the rest of the world did about that in years gone long, including the United States, by the way. No, the world is not England. This part of the world is the United States. Well, okay, Ukraine can be Ukraine. But guess what? They got the same growing pains that America had. They got to get rid of their past if they want to be. But they shouldn't be trying to be Americans. They should be trying to truly be Ukrainians, and you can't force them. Just like here. You know, why didn't we take Mexico? No, we've done a little bit of that forcing, our own colonialism. We've done it. We've forced our will upon others, but that's what, that's what made America today. And this is where the throws are going in. But you don't get on the airwaves and say, "Die, Russia, die." All you, and we're killing y'all. Leave or you're dead. I mean, what are we gonna? That sounds like a nuclear threat to me. And they claim that the nuclear threats are coming from Putin. Putin all he has said is, "We are ready for that eventuality if it comes up." Of course, here on the West, they try to twist it and say he's threatening it. No, he's telling you the truth. He's speaking in objective, real terms. And if you people ever listen now, because the world's going to hell in a handbasket. We got morons for leaders at every level in America. Pick them. I've said enough about this. We have a corrupt government, just like every other place on the planet, and ours is no better. We're being guided around by the nose, because that's what happens in America. And that's how it's gone. The people with the money, the people with the power, by the other people who have the power. How in the hell does a guy like Biden stay in office for 60 years? Guy's been a moron ever since. I mean, every once in a while he has a shining moment, but that guy's never been too bright. Never. And if you go back and watch his foolishness, the guy's not bright and never has been. Now he's not bright, and he's a danger to himself and others. Any judge that put him in a room and watched him wander around with a blank look on his face would go, "Jesus, people, your family really needs to take care of you." And how do they take care of him? Get him off the world stage. The guy's an embarrassment to the rest of us. And you can also throw in there, just from Sam, you can also take these other world morons, leaders, if you want to call them that, of our armed forces off of the world stage, because the rest of the world is laughing their asses off at us. Why are they going to come? Why should we fear an army of men dressed in women's clothing? Why should we fear that? Why should we fear a Navy admiral in a dress? I'm not against gay people. Never have been. I'm not against transgender. You want to dress up, play fairy costume all day long when you're not at work? Fine. That's your life. You go do it. But I don't go to work wearing, oh Jesus, some of these embarrassing things that people wear. It's not all about you. It just isn't. You can be you. I hope you're you. I want you to be you. I want to be me, and God bless it, I'll never let anybody else tell me who I am. It's not going to happen. And most Americans are like that. You know what? There's stories, and there are these stories. There was a kid got killed in Ukraine not long ago. Saw it on a channel. Got killed. Russian kid got killed wearing a cross. He had a cross on. They told him take it off. He's like, no. They're trying to get rid of the churches over there too. They killed him for it. Guy wearing a cross. You hear stories about that in religion all the time. People fighting for who they say they are and who they believe they are. And more power to you. That's what our world life is about. It's not about these stupid borders of who's who. And I'm not one of those bleeding hearts, what's mine is yours. Nope. America's for Americans. Why are we opening our borders to people that we aren't even verifying who the hell they are? I could go on for this forever, and I do in Russian. Please check my channel out, because I'm telling you, I got some stories to tell, and I've had a decent life. I was an arms control inspector, like Scott Ritter. I was on the he was an officer. I'm not. I was an NCOIC, a team leader of a few missions, and most of mine was Rakety Srednyi Menshei Dalnosti, INF treaty. And after that, nuclear forces, nuclear threshold test ban treaty, and we verified nuclear weapons, nuclear explosions, nuclear testing, underground nuclear testing, and mostly in Las Vegas. And I was there for a couple of those things, and I escorted Russian and Soviet scientists that verified our activities under that. Those treaties, America threw them out. America threw them all away. America stomped all over during the Bush years. Why? Because Warsaw Pact had gone away. And who wants to collect them all? Who's going to collect all those new NATO countries, which Bush said they'd never do? Bush 1 and 2. And Clinton said they'd never do. We'll never do that. Bush 1 is the most famous. We won't go another inch to the east. Yeah, but we'll go several thousand miles, or 100 miles. Europe's small. We'll go several hundred miles. No problem. We'll go into Ukraine. Where the hell's the red line? Freaking Ukraine. Okay? That's the red line. This has been coming for a long time. And those of you who don't get it should pull your heads out of your posteriors and smell the coffee. They're selling you a load of crap, and we're giving tons of money to people who don't deserve it, and all they're doing is stealing it. The most corrupt governments in the world. And now, back to the serious point, the very serious point was the following. Number one, Putin put out a peace plan yesterday. Why? Because it's right before the summit. His peace plan says, listen, we're ready to talk. We're telling you again, we're ready to talk. And then he says, when you are ready to refuse NATO membership, number one, that's still number one. And number two, recognize this front as it is right now. Zaporizhia, Kherson, Donetsk, Lugansk. If you're ready to recognize those things, those 5 things, we are ready to talk. And you heard what the U.S. got, through their back channels. Zelensky's 10-piece plan was, Russia goes back to where it was in 1991. Yep, that's going to work. You killed half the people over there. I don't blame him for what he did. It's war. War sucks, but his point is far better than yours, Mr. Zelensky. And Zelensky had a 10-point plan. All crap, except for 3, which now, here's the 3 that they've hinted to Zelensky is all he's going to get, especially without the participation of Russia at this peace summit, right? And they've already told Zelensky, here are the 3 you're going to get. Here are the 3 that we're willing to support. 1, and get this. This is interesting. Get this. Number one, return the children that were stolen from, what do you call them? Orphanages in Lugansk and all those other places. Return those children, Russia, because you stole them. That's number one. Okay, so history behind that is there's several, Ukraine, literally, left them to fend for themselves. No people, no nothing, just a bunch of kids in orphanages 2-3 times, right? 2-3 different runs. Russia took them all into Russia, put them in Russian orphanages. Now, if you don't know, Ukraine is very well known to be a farm for those seeking to adopt young white babies. And there are places, they've shown these on Telegram channels too, of women in bunkers still having babies, and they're showing places where the babies can stay, and old nuclear fallout shelters. Oh, we have our things still ready to go. We have our factory, our baby factory is still in place, and these women are getting paid a lot of money to have for them, a lot of money to have babies. The facilities are getting tons of money, but they're not giving very much to these young ladies that they're destroying, you know, and the babies. Anyway, Russia took a bunch of these babies. That's the first important step. 3-point plan that they're willing to do. Number 2, they're willing. They want an exchange of prisoners, meaning all the Azov brigade, all the Nazis that Russia. Well, it's not all of them. A lot of them just giving themselves up because they've only had training for a week, and then they throw them onto the front to fend for their lives, and they surrender. So there's about, according to Putin a couple weeks ago, there's about 6,500 Ukrainian soldiers in captivity. On the other hand, in Ukraine, there's about 1,500. Putin said he knew the exact number, like 1,538, something like that. I don't remember. Just over 1,500 that he knew. Those are to be exchanged, right? And the third one that the West is willing to support is nuclear energy protection. These factories that Zelensky was going to bomb, that Zelensky was doing, they want to protect these reactors so you don't have another Chernobyl over there. Okay, so those are the 3 things that are willing to protect. Zelensky, of course, wants to go back to the 1991 borders. He wants to go back to refusal of ability to speak Russian inside of Ukraine. He wants to go back to all of these things, and he wants to destroy Russian culture instead. But he shows it by getting online and doing a video saying, "Die, Russia, die. If you want to live, run. And don't mess with Ukraine. Don't mess with our culture." What culture? Your culture is connected to Russia. I don't mean that badly. Yes, you have your own culture. It's connected, but it was never something totally independent. You haven't been around that long. And wherever you've been around, it's always been with Russia, not against. You chose the wrong side. Well, you know what? Sides don't even matter. You chose the wrong path. You chose the wrong path. You're not Americans. And guess what? You're not gonna be. If you move here, great. You want to be a part of the EC and of NATO? Well, you've tried that. Hadn't worked out very well for you, has it? And it's because you're so corrupt. Fix your problems, and maybe you can be. But you're no better than any other third world mini country, and I'm not sure why we're putting all. Well, I know exactly why. Because people plan to go in there and do more of the same looting of Ukraine and its wonderful resources and very good people, the Slavionic people, which are very good people. And by the way, so are Russians, good people. And, you know, leadership is hard. Life is hard. Running governments is hard. We got a crappy government. Don't go claiming that our government's, you know, a good system. It's not. We see how corruption works here. And trust me, it's everywhere. And you can't swing a dead cat without hitting a corrupt politician. They're everywhere. And 90% of them I label as such. That's what they are. They're not working for us. They're working for themselves. And that's it. That's America. That's the dream of some American people. And what do? They destroy other people's dreams to make sure that theirs is good. And they're destroying the American dream in total as we speak. You have a very nice day. Hope you've enjoyed my lecture. And my name is Samuel Trapp. And I am the angry Russian-speaking American. And my channel, please subscribe. Put on a couple of likes. That would be very nice. And I'd like to see my channel grow. I'm almost up to 4,000 subscribers. I want to be at 10,000. I want to be at 100,000. I want to say what I want because my opinion is just as important as yours. Have a very nice day.